Yesterday, we had our Christingle service at St Catharine's, and it was wonderful to see over 40 different households logged in onto Zoom to share time together and learn more about the metaphor of the Christingle and what it tells us about God's love for us through Jesus. As a child, I loved the Christingle service and the chance to have an orange with an awful lot of sweets stuck into it that was all mine. Spending time thinking through what the Christingle represents made me think about this verse from John today. Out of his fullness we have all received grace in place of grace already given. This verse is one of the shortest in the opening of John 1, yet within it are contained some really powerful ideas of the nature of God and why Jesus is so transformative for us and for our lives. To understand the full importance of John 1:16, we have to look back to John 1:14, which is the precursor to this verse. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Out of his fullness we have all received grace in place of grace already given. The whole of the Bible is a story of this grace of God and how generous God is to us human beings. After God created the world and people, it was perfect and without sin. But mankind turned its love away from God. And if we're truthful with ourselves, we've all fallen short of God. Sometimes it's the big stuff, sometimes it's just little things, but we're all far below what God created us to be. In the Old Testament, God gave his people the law, his commandments and instructions, as a means by which people could return to be closer to him. But the law couldn't make God's people change, only make them lean on God more and more. So God sent his son Jesus to come and offer a different way for people to return to God. Jesus comes as the light of the world, the candle from our Christingle, at the centre of the orange that's the world. Through the death of Jesus, taking the punishment for us and all the times that we fall short of God, God wrapped his arms of grace around the world, shown through the red ribbon around our Christingles. Through God's grace, not only do we not get our just deserts, but we also get far more from God than we could ever expect or deserve. And the fruits and the sweets that we stick in the Christingle are a sign of the bounty from God. Some translations of this verse talk of blessing upon blessing being heaped upon us. Salvation's not some technical transaction between God, Jesus and us. It's a sign that God is pouring out his grace, love and blessings on us over and over again. Although I love Christingle, the problem with it as a metaphor is that once the sweets are eaten, the candle's burnt down, and the orange has been tossed out onto the compost heap, it doesn't say much for the wonder of God's salvation. But in this bit of John's Gospel, he's painting for us a vision of a relationship with God through Jesus that's like the orange of the Christingle that never goes mouldy, the candle that doesn't burn down, and the cocktail sticks of sweets that are always replenished by the grace of God. Through the fullness of God, the coming of Christ at Christmas leads to blessing upon blessing, grace in place of grace already given to all of us and forever.